All right, everyone, buckle up. We're diving deep into the world of Apple Silicon, and let me tell you, this is some seriously game-changing stuff.
No doubt about it. This isn't just some incremental upgrade. We're talking a fundamental shift in how we think about computers.
Exactly, and specifically, we're zeroing in on Apple's M series chips.
Right, because these chips are the engine driving this whole revolution.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't experienced the joy of a MacBook that sounds like a jet engine taking off, let's rewind a bit. Back in the Intel days, what were the limitations Apple was bumping up against?
Well, the biggest one was always that trade-off between power and battery life. Intel chips, they were real power hogs,
Yeah.
and trying to squeeze more performance out of them, well, it usually meant sacrificing how long you could actually use the darn thing.
Oh, tell me about it. I can't count how many times I was scrambling for an outlet in the middle of something important. But then WWDC 2020 rolls around.
And Apple drops the mic.
They announce they're ditching Intel completely and going with their own custom design chips. I mean, that's a bold move, right?
Bold. It was practically unheard of at the time. But it was a power move, too. See, by controlling the entire stack, the hardware and the software, they could achieve a level of optimization that was just impossible before.
It's like the difference between buying a suit off the rack and having one tailor-made, but for your computer's brain.
hmm
So the M1 chip comes out, everyone's blown away by the performance gains.
Yeah, the M1 was a real underdog story. I mean, here you have this chip that's tiny by comparison, but it's going toe-to-toe with and often surpassing the performance of these beefy Intel chips that had been the industry standard for years.
Longer battery life, faster speeds. It was almost too good to be true. I remember there being some hesitation, though, right? Like, would this new architecture really work with all the software people relied on?
There were definitely some growing pains. I mean, anytime you have such a radical shift in technology, there are going to be compatibility issues. Developers had to scramble to update their apps, and some things just, well, didn't work quite right at first.
But Apple, they're not ones to rest on their laurels.
Not even close. They kept iterating.
The M1 Pro, the M1 Max, and it seems like every few months there's a new, even more powerful chip. What's fascinating to me is that it's not just about cramming in more power for the sake of it.
You got it. Apple's being really smart about segmenting their lineup. They're creating chips tailored for specific types of users, whether you're a professional video editor who needs every ounce of horsepower or someone who just wants a snappy, responsive machine for everyday tasks.
It's like, you don't need a Ferrari to go grocery shopping, but hey, it's nice to have the option, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the real takeaway here. Apple's not just playing the game anymore, they're rewriting the rules. And it begs the question, what does this mean for the future of computing as a whole?
It's a future full of potential, that's for sure. But it also raises some important questions. Will this spark a new wave of innovation across the industry? Or will we see a widening gap between Apple's ecosystem and everyone else?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that each of us, as users and as part of this tech landscape, need to grapple with.
It's a lot to consider. One thing's for certain, though, things are about to get interesting. So as you go about your digital lives, I encourage you to really think about your relationship with technology and where you see it heading in this rapidly changing world.